If this is you, you're not alone, and this video is going to explain exactly what is happening inside you. Here's the thing nobody talks about: what you think of as your personality traits, the way you communicate, react to conflict, handle praise, build relationships. Most of it has nothing to do with your character. It's not you, it's your childhood. You just don't see it. Because a habit you built at age 7 to survive a home where people yelled at you, that habit is still living inside you. Only now you're not a child in danger. You're an adult still operating on rules from 30 years ago. Today I'm going to show you 6 of these habits. They seem normal. You might even think they're part of who you are. But the root of each one traces back to childhood. And once you see that root, you can finally pull it out. Habit 1. You apologize constantly. You say sorry when someone bumps into you in a crowd. You apologize when you ask the waiter for what you ordered 10 minutes ago. You say sorry to bother you before every message to a colleague. You apologize for your very existence. Here's what's really happening. A child who grew up in an environment where their needs were treated as an inconvenience, that child learned a simple lesson. To avoid rejection, accept the blame early. Apologize before you're accused. Become small, convenient, invisible. Because a visible child is a child who gets yelled at. A visible child is a problem. And now you're 30, still apologizing for taking up space. Your brain still believes your existence is an inconvenience to others. But here's what I want you to know. You're not an inconvenience. You're a person. And your needs matter just as much as anyone else's in the room. Research in child psychology shows children who received consistent emotional acceptance from their parents grow up with a baseline sense of, I have a right to be here. Children who received rejection or punishment for expressing needs grow up feeling, I must apologize for existing. If you recognize yourself in this, stop. Next time you want to say sorry simply for being there, say thank you instead. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for helping. This shifts your position. You're not a debtor. You're an equal. Habit 2. You can't accept compliments. When someone says, you did a great job, you immediately respond with, oh, it wasn't just me, it was the team. I just got lucky, or it was nothing really. You devalue praise before it even reaches you, as if accepting a compliment means stealing something you don't deserve. Here's what's really happening. A child who grew up where praise was rare or conditional. You got a B, why not an A? Good, but you could do better, that child learned. No achievement is ever enough. You never measure up. Stopping to accept that you're good means relaxing, and you can't relax because relaxed people get punished. Even deeper. A child who was praised only for achievements, not for who they were, that child learned to tie their worth to results. No result, no you. And when there is a result, it's just your duty, not a reason for pride. Research from Stanford by Carol Dweck confirms this. Children praised for effort rather than innate ability grow up more psychologically resilient. And children praised only for outcomes, or never praised at all, those children become adults who don't know where to put a compliment when it finally arrives. Here's what I want you to know. You have the right to be good, right now. No but, no could be better. You have the right to hear you did great and simply say, thank you, without diminishing it, without devaluing it. This isn't arrogance, it's honesty. Habit 3. You avoid conflict at any cost. You agree to things you don't want. You stay silent when you're hurt. You swallow resentment because expressing disagreement feels more terrifying than swallowing it. You smile while everything inside you is screaming. Here's what's really happening. A child who grew up in a home where conflict meant danger yelling, violence, cold silence for days, threats of divorce. That child learned conflict equals catastrophe. To survive, be good, be convenient, don't cause problems. Because any problem could destroy everything. And now you're 30. Your boss piles someone else's work on you. Your partner does something that hurts you. Your friend cancels plans for the third time, and you stay silent, because somewhere deep inside, the 7-year-old you still believes, if I say no, the world will collapse. Here's what I want you to know. You're not in that house anymore. Conflict is not catastrophe. Conflict is just two people with different needs trying to negotiate them. Nothing will collapse if you say, "This doesn't work for me." Your anger is not a danger. Your anger is a compass, showing you where your boundaries have been crossed. You have the right to feel it and to express it. Habit 4. You're a perfectionist who's never satisfied with yourself. You redo a task 5 times when it was already good after the second. You don't publish the video because it's not perfect yet. You don't start the project because you're not ready enough. You wait for the moment when everything will be right, and that moment never comes. Here's what's really happening. A child whose worth depended on performance, whose love was conditional, whose attention had to be earned through grades and achievements, that child learned a cruel lesson. You are what you produce, and what you produce is never good enough. Perfectionism isn't a drive for excellence, it's a fear of mistakes. Because in childhood, a mistake meant losing love. Research shows children who were punished or shamed for mistakes grow into adults who perceive any failure as a catastrophe threatening their identity. The brain responds to criticism not as feedback, but as a survival threat. Here's what I want you to know. Done is better than perfect, because perfect is a trap. Perfect never arrives. You can spend your whole life polishing something that was already finished 5 years ago. Your worth is not measured by the quality of your output. You are valuable even when you make mistakes, especially when you make mistakes, because a mistake isn't a verdict, it's information. Habit 5. You can't ask for help. You carry everything yourself. You say, "I've got this," even when you clearly don't. You feel humiliated at the mere thought of saying, "I'm struggling," or "I don't know what to do." You would rather collapse than reach out your hand. Here's what's really happening. A child whose requests for help were met with rejection, mockery, or indifference. Stop whining. You're a big kid now. I have my own problems, that child learned. Asking for help is useless and dangerous because asking makes you vulnerable. And vulnerability in a world where no one comes is a death sentence. Over time, uselessness became a moral principle. I should handle things on my own. Asking for help is weakness. You turned a defense mechanism into a virtue. But it's not a virtue, it's a scar. Here's what I want you to know. Asking for help is not weakness, it's courage. It takes immense strength to say, "I can't do this alone, I need you." This doesn't make you less, it makes you human. And here's the most surprising part. The people you're afraid of burdening with your request, they will most likely feel closer to you when you ask. Because vulnerability is the only bridge that actually reaches another person. Habit 6. You sabotage yourself when things are going well. You start a relationship, and within a month you find a reason to destroy it. You get a promotion, and suddenly you can't handle the work. You're close to your goal, and abruptly you lose interest, get distracted, miss deadlines, as if someone inside you refuses to let you be happy. Here's what's really happening. This might be the cruelest habit of all, because it works preemptively. A child who survived an unpredictable environment where good moments always ended badly, where a calm evening was followed by a fight, where joy was punished, that child learned happiness is a trap. Don't relax. If you're happy, you're not ready for the blow. And now, when a good period arrives in your adult life, your brain sounds the alarm. It doesn't trust good things. Good is suspicious. Good is the calm before the storm. And to avoid the pain of an unexpected blow, you deliver that blow yourself. Controlled demolition. You destroy everything now, so it can't be destroyed without your knowledge later. Trauma research confirms. A brain that grew up in survival mode perceives the absence of threat not as peace but as the unknown. And the unknown is scarier than familiar pain, so it returns you to familiar pain. Because familiar pain is at least predictable. Here's what I want you to know. You have the right to good things, free of charge, no catch, no mandatory crash after the rise. Happiness is not a trap, it's your natural state, and you're allowed to stay there. Here's what ties all 6 habits together. Each one was a solution. Not a problem, a solution. When you were 7, apologizing for every move you made was a brilliant strategy. It worked. It protected you. You didn't let anyone reject you because you rejected yourself first. You controlled the situation the only way you could. The problem isn't that you built these habits. The problem is that you never updated the software. You're not 7 anymore. You're not in that house anymore. The threats these defenses were built against, they're gone. But the defense remains. Like a missile defense system shooting at birds, it's functional. It's just firing at the wrong target. Pain creates a cycle. You hide your needs and feel unseen. You avoid conflict and build up resentment that explodes later. You don't ask for help and you burn out. You sabotage happiness and confirm your childhood conclusion. Happiness is impossible. You're trapped, but the key is in your hand. Here are 3 steps to start getting out, right now. Step 1. Notice. Over the next week, every time you do something from this list, apologize without reason. Devalue a compliment, swallow resentment, redo something that was already perfect. Refuse help, sabotage something good, just notice it. Don't judge, don't scold yourself, just say out loud or silently, "Oh, there's that habit. Hello, old strategy." Awareness is the first step to change. You can't change what you don't see. Step 2. Ask. When you've noticed the habit, ask yourself one question. Is this helping me right now, or is it protecting me from something that no longer exists? Your brain will answer honestly, because 9 times out of 10, the answer is, it's protecting me from something that no longer exists. And in that moment, you create a tiny crack in the automation. You stop being a robot. You become a person who has a choice. Step 3. Act by 1%. Don't try to change in a single day. Your habits were built over decades. They won't collapse with a snap. Instead, do 1% more than yesterday. Don't apologize once when you wanted to. Accept one compliment fully, without a but. Say this doesn't work for me once, with a shaky voice. Ask for help with something small. This isn't a sprint, it's a practice. And every time you make a new choice, you rewrite the old script, slowly, neuron by neuron. Here's what I want you to take from this video. You are not broken, you are adapted. Every one of these habits is not a flaw. It's your survival system, built by a child in circumstances they didn't choose. You did the best you could with what you had. And now that you see this, you have something that child never had. You have awareness, you have power over your life, you have a choice. You can set down that old shield. You don't need it anymore. You are safe now. Subscribe, new video every week. And if this video resonated with you, share it with someone who might need it too. Take care of your mind. It's the most beautiful place you'll ever visit.